Hi, everybody, and welcome to Daily Bread with Jess, where we will be doing daily Bible devotions and a weekly Bible study for beginners. Each week, we will go over a book of the Bible, the history, the author, the message and the key theme, key verses, biblical characters, and how we can begin to learn from it all. And each day we will have a daily devotional where we will pull verses from our weekly Bible study to focus and reflect on, in the hopes that it truly inspires you to grow more intimate with the Lord and His Word. And today we will be doing our very first daily devotional. Let me get my papers a little organized. This was my very first video, so bear with me. But we have to start somewhere. Am I right? Okay. Today, we will be going over John 11:35, because our key Bible book for the week will be the book of John. But today, let's start slow with John 11:35. It goes, Jesus wept. That's it. It's the shortest Bible verse. But I kind of felt like it was a really good place to start if the Bible feels overwhelming to you, because at 1,200 pages, it can feel that way. But don't worry, we're going to start slow. So let's dive in and take a look at the immediate surroundings of this verse. We'll back it up about 10 verses or so, and we'll find ourselves reading about Jesus having a private conversation with a woman named Martha, and they're talking about the death of her brother Lazarus. I sometimes struggle to say that name, so I call him Laz. So Jesus and Martha, they're talking about Laz's death. And of course, Martha's really upset about it, but so is Jesus, because this was like a brother to Jesus. He truly loved him and cared for him. And it is also in this conversation where we will find that Jesus reveals to Martha that he is the Messiah, and he tells her that her brother will rise again. And we find that in John 11:23. So now, closer to our key verse here, Jesus is standing at the entrance, so to speak, of this village where Laz and his family lived. And we have Mary, Martha and Laz's other sister, running up to Jesus, and she's crying. She's upset that her brother has died. And she's even more upset that Jesus wasn't there to save him, because it's very well known that Jesus is performing miracles at this point, but he has not publicly raised anybody from the dead yet. So that's not really even on their radar that he could do this. The miracles that he's performing are blowing their minds enough. So Jesus sees Mary crying over the death of her brother, and it is written that Jesus was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. So let's read these couple verses together so it makes a little bit more sense. Starting with John 11:33 and ending with 11:36. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. "Where have you laid him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, "See how he loved him." So that's it, those two words. For two words, they really say so much. Now, Jesus said so much during his life. He was teaching in the temple in Jerusalem as a child, and he grew his entire ministry on his word. But it is here in this moment of history and time that Jesus didn't say anything. He simply wept. And I know that we have all had those moments in life where all we could do is cry out in pain, from grief or loss to complete heartbreaks and all of life's just aches and those unanswered prayers. For me, it would be like reflecting on the death of my mother at 14, or when I get lost in those memories of my time spent in addiction. Those times will often leave me with more tears than words. But in even those unanswered prayers that we all have, where you feel so unseen and so unheard by the Lord, and maybe you even felt a little shortchanged, like Mary was feeling here, because Jesus can heal and help all these people, but he didn't do it for you. You lost that opportunity. You fell back into a relapse. You spent so long praying and believing for a miracle, but still that loved one died of their illness. Or maybe death came like a thief in the night and you lost someone you really cared about in the blink of an eye. Whatever life throws at us, that could be so devastating. This verse really helps us remember that Jesus understands your pain. And it's really important to remember that Jesus knew what he was going to do here. He had been plainly telling the apostles how he was going to bring Lazarus back to life the entire multi-day trip to this village. But Jesus wept anyway. He saw that raw human emotion of pain and confusion and loss and humility. Jesus also had a very deep understanding of his Father's will. And he wept because he knew the heartbreak you and I would face and the pain that we would come to know in this life. And he understands that there will be moments where we can't see or even try to accept God's will or see the bigger picture. We will mourn, we will ache, and we will weep. But it's in those moments that if you just draw close to him, know he weeps with you and he feels your sorrow. He sits with you in it. He meets you right there with a box of Kleenex and a shoulder to cry on, and he cries with you. Because there's times where we feel so weak that we can't stand up by ourselves, and it's like our faith has just been shrunk. And he'll wait with you until you're ready, and he'll help you get up, and he'll walk with you. He'll walk with you to that tomb that you are upset over, and he will speak life into it. He will bring you back to joy. Now, my mom did not rise from the dead, but when I honestly really finally brought that endless pain that I had once had that crippled me over her death to him, he redeemed me in my pain. The Lord spoke directly to me, and he told me that he saw my pain and that he also sees my mother's pain over her daughter's heart. He assured me that she is just living so beautifully in heaven and that she's always with me because she's with Jesus and Jesus lives in me. And in my sorrow, I found strength, not of my own, but of Jesus's. It was his strength that I have and I lean on, and that I was able to finally get up and walk away from my mother's grave and live life again. And his strength is just fueled by his love for you. So to end this reflection, I want to ask you if there were ever times you felt hopeless and you were weeping, and if Jesus met you there with his love, I would truly love to hear your story and talk with you. And also, if there are any parts of your life that you may still be weeping over, if there are graves that you're still standing at long after the funeral has ended, I'm just asking if you would be willing to bring your raw, weeping, human self to him. I promise you, he is wanting that intimacy with you because he has called you and he has chosen you. I believe that if you are watching this, that you are chosen and you are called and you are loved. So go weep with Jesus. And we will be back tomorrow with another daily devotional from the book of John. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and please send me your prayer requests. I would truly love to pray for you and get to know you and help you on your walk with the Lord.